Hello, lore heads, and welcome to the League, exploring the League of Legends lore from A to Z. My name is Rebecca.
And I'm John.
My name is Mark.
And today we're talking about the Eternal Nightmare Nocturne, who was released March 15th, 2011.
One of the earlier champions that I remember the release of after I think started there. What year was it again?
2011.
All right. Yeah. After I started working there. It was like very short.
That's wild to me.
Sure, yeah. I remember this release from the player perspective because I was not at Riot at the time. Because his ultimate is probably the... Is it great ultimate or greatest ultimate when it comes to Nocturne? Because I fucking love it.
It's pretty good. I feel like it started a lot of things for like having like a global status effect on, all the enemies on the map, like blindness, since I'm pretty sure he was pre-Graves, and also the fact that he, yells something at the whole map when he does his ultimate. It really set up, he hovered so that Scion and Glade could run.
Sure.
Yeah, no, I remember the first time it happened in game, and I think it was like the most one-to-one, like a champion thematic has matched the emotions that I felt as a player. I was like, I feel very afraid right now. I'm not sure what's happening.
That carries on to this day. Anytime I see a Nocturnal.
As an immobile mage player, I would say it is the worst ultimate. Because there's just no, I'm done. If it's aimed at me, I'm fucked.
I love the comms. Anytime you're in comms and a Nocturne ult
goes off,
is it on me? Is it on me? Anyone? Where is he? Where is he?
He's here. Ah, fuck.
Damn it was me.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
It's been fun, guys.
Yeah, it makes me almost wish that Fiddlesticks ult did something that was global. I mean, as a non-Fiddlesticks player, I'm glad it doesn't, but it would be really fun if there was just a blink of darkness or something.
Sure. A big crow just flies in front of the screen for a second. Just like a jump scare.
It made me think of like when someone dies in Super Smash Brothers and they bounce on the screen. Yeah. So a crow just flies into your screen for a second.
Oh,
I
man.
think he's stunned. Nah, he's dead.
Well, what does our boy sound like?
I think
I don't know.
He may have the most processing. Well, okay, maybe not in game now, but his Runeterra voice, I do think has the most like effects and processing on it. Yeah, they cranked it to like 11 in Runeterra, and I'm not sure why. Okay, what does he do? He whispers a lot, but he says, "Do I scare you, summoner?"
Oh, he still talks about summoners.
You bet he does.
Okay, well, I'll say one of these quotes, and I'll do my best.
Your best is always great, honey.
It's not. I'm just gonna... let's just do some Nocturne ASMR. Are you my nightmare? Or am I yours? That's what he sounds like, right?
That's...
That was like Annie.
Annie doing Nocturne.
That was Annie's Nocturne impression, everybody.
Weather forecast for tonight. Dark with a chance of pain.
So Nocturne's favorite movie is Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. Calling it. Yeah, Nocturne doesn't have much on the universe page. He has a bio and a short story and the video, A Twist of Fate. Right?
Yeah.
Something like that. And then the behind the scenes. Then there's some old concept art that was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
It was just like he's a shadow with big sword arms, which I guess is what he is now. But
right.
It's a little bit more.
They fleshed it out a little bit more, luckily.
It looks like that one skin of his. Honestly, I don't remember the name of it. It was like one of his release skins. What's it called? I'm gonna look it up. I think his old splash looks exactly like it, but when I find it, I'll let you know.
I'm trying to think of his release. Was it like was Ravager.
Maybe
I
Ravager.
couldn't name a lot of. I know he looks like a ghost in one of his skins.
Or Frozen.
Yeah, not Booberry. It's not Frozen. It's like because it has the same like yellow highlights that they have going on in that.
Yeah, I think that one's Ravager.
I think it's Ravager. Which I would be interested if they were like, well, we're gonna tweak the design, but maybe we use this old one as a skin. You know? Because like you said, 2011. That was when it was like, sure, different color, throw them in there.
Yeah, done.
Yeah.
Ship it.
Okay, I kind of remember this one. Wow, I don't think I've ever seen Frozen Terror.
Oh, really? I used that one. Well, I used that one a bunch when I played some Nocturne.
Interesting.
I was interested that they actually included Twist of Fate here, since they make a special point of not including the other cinematic that has nexuses.
Oh,
Does this one have does this one have a nexus in it? I like just rewatched it, but now you're...
It doesn't have a nexus in it.
Yeah. Okay, that's probably why I got the pass.
Although it does have Nightmare Tryndamere, which is an AU, so I don't know why this is canon. But
Oh, sure.
Go off.
Right. Fight Giant Baron. I mean, whatever. It just looks pretty. It's high enough quality bar that they're like, it's fine. We'll keep it.
yeah, they don't have a lot going on for Nocturne, which is fine. I think, he's fitting in that Fiddlesticks Nautilus space.
I guess we'll talk about it when we do the stories, but I feel like, especially after Fiddlesticks got his big rework, now they're like really similar, and maybe a little too much. I don't know. Maybe not.
Yeah, I think this lore could do with a quick update.
Yeah.
I like a lot of the themes and ideas there, but distinguishing them a bit more from Fiddle would be good. And just doing more with it, because his short story, which we'll get into a bit, I like the idea behind it a lot. So I mean, more shit like that would be fun.
Yeah, it'd be a good cinematic. I think we talked about it with Lilia, but tying him with Lilia in some way would be a really good way to update him.
Sure. That would
she's all about dreams, he's all about nightmares.
Yeah, and that would make sense too, because as we'll see in the bio, he's related to magic that's a big deal in Ionia specifically anyway, so it's plug him in over there. Do we want to dive into the bio? Or?
Actually,
Let's do it.
So
by
this is
Ian St. Martin.
This is probably our last episode for a little bit. I'm a few days away from squeezing out a baby, and I'll say I have absolutely zero notes on Nocturne. I did read his bio and his short story, and I think I could summarize his bio. Nocturne is Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, but less funny.
A little less slapstick.
Yeah, that's what he's missing.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you're kind of the right of it. I think you feel that even more in the short story, especially with like some scenes in it in particular. Maybe
the bed, yeah.
I can do the bio. It's easy peasy.
Sure.
All right.
I would say, to your defense too, the bio in my mind is super vague about a lot of things.
It is.
So you can just kind of if you can just if you can just kind of guess what Nocturne's story is, you're probably right. But it takes us back to the Rune Wars. And it seems like as a part of the Rune Wars, some mages would use something that we were kind of familiar with, shadow magic, like Zed likes to use.
Surely we'll get a story that connects those.
Right? So you had these mages.
I didn't even fucking think about that.
Well, hidden secret connection, Zed, shadow magic, and apparently whatever this is, I guess. But yeah, so you got a bunch of mages. They're tooling around in the spirit realm. They've kind of they've left the mortal plane entirely, and they've kind of infected the spirit realm with their dark magics. And so the spirit realm is kind of cast in twilight, I think is what it says. And then that causes people in the normal plane to then suffer in various ways, or turn them into, they commit horrendous acts against each other. And
Fossbarrow.
That type of shit, right? And these mages also, as a part of what they're doing their evil scheming, they have shadow assassins that kind of do their bidding, little elemental constructs, I guess, in the spirit realm. And no one knows exactly how it happened, but all that suffering kind of caused one of these constructs to become Nocturne, as it is known, which is this demonic entity that's kind of stuck in the spirit realm and feasts on fear and pain and suffering and all that shit that demons love. And Nocturne goes around and kills all the mages in the spirit realm until there's essentially it's like a predator that has no natural like has been introduced to an ecosystem because Nocturne clears out everyone and then is like starving because there's no one else going into the spirit realm, and is able to kind of find sustenance through I guess when people dream they kind of go into the spirit realm, and so that's how Nocturne is able to kind of find inroads into the mortal plane and goes around and kind of looks for weaknesses in the mind and spirit to feast on.
Man, it seems like if they were struggling to find some way to justify him breaking into the mortal plane, some, clan of practitioners of shadow magic constantly breaking down the veil would have been a real good opportunity for that, but I guess we're not going to go with that.
No, yeah, right.
Fuck you, Zed.
It does feel like a big missed opportunity, right? I think also because he doesn't, like we said, he doesn't have a lot going on. He doesn't really have any sort of meaningful connections, and he's not even like really meaningfully placed or kind of focused around anywhere. He shows up in Fossbarrow just through like a single story, but we have to like look to Legends of Runeterra to even understand how he got there in the fucking first place. So it's like,
yeah,
whatever.
And also like even among other demons, he's noted like the the Azakana sheet and like sheet of demons isn't even on his page. Like they don't give a fuck about Nocturne.
Yeah, which is a shame because I think they like it seems like when they made that little family tree, I don't know what you want to call it, like they had him in mind because Nightmare is right there on it, and it's like, I wonder who that's about. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a bummer because I do like when they toy with horror a little bit, and I think they with the Fiddlesticks rework they grounded him in a way where you can kind of see his influence in a few places, or at least know that he's killing people pretty actively. He's active in Runeterra. Nocturne feels almost like an old threat, even if we do have a short story with him and whatnot, but.
Yeah, and I feel like even the jump, well, we'll get into it, I guess, but even the jump between his abilities in the Shadow Door versus his abilities in Fossbarrow seems like a massive fucking jump.
It feels very
yeah. Oh, I was just gonna say, and that's like post hibernation for a long time.
We think he'd be weaker. Yeah, they feel very disconnected. So. Those like this short story and the Fossbarrow piece, they just feel like entirely different things, which. I guess to be fair, they don't ever call him Nocturne in that for Demacia story that we're talking about, but it's definitely him. Like they've got his quotes and shit in there, so it's like
I'm right. Like they have his direct quotes, they have his direct abilities. Like
yeah, it's kind of weird. I don't know. I think we saw it too. Like in my quote, right? He's still talking to summoners and stuff. He's just old. He's covered in like mothballs and like old ski boots that don't fit, and like just pull them out and dust them off a bit,
I love the idea that Nocturne smells like mothballs. When he jumps on you, you're like, oh, grandma.
Some people are afraid of their grandmas, and that would fit.
I guess that's true. I've always kind of liked the smell of mothballs. Is that weird?
He's their Bogart.
So he ults you, and if you're afraid of your grandma, it's just your grandma flying at you.
Have you eaten?
I don't think that's the type of grandma people would be afraid of.
Oh, I'm so full, no more. Nana Nocturne. Okay.
Oh shit.
Oh damn.
It'll be like one of those little Red Riding Hood Warwick skins, but with Nocturne.
Oh,
we need more of those.
That would be good, actually.
Nana Nocturne.
There were a few quotes in this story that I liked. At the very beginning, it opens up with the greatest of these horrors has a name, and its name is Nocturne. Which I know I read it like that just now out loud. Reading it in my head, I like could not help but read it as like Purred Happily from Parks and Rec.
I don't remember.
There you have it, where it is the thing Leslie Knope just said about this situation.
I guess you don't have a good like horror narrative voice, huh? It's just all Douglas Adams.
Yeah. Even if I did do it in a horror voice, I still feel like something about it rings odd to me.
Sure.
And there's a line that said that when those magicians went into the Shadow Realm, they cast off their flesh and entered the Spirit Realm, which sounded a lot to me like their skeletons are just like undressing to get ready.
I love it. Like they like flare it out and the skin just goes into the wind.
Ew.
Quick change artists. I like
There is a lot of stuff between the skin and the skeleton.
Nah, it's just Mr. Skeleton.
I do like the idea of a bunch of skeletons running around in the spirit realm with like old pirate swords
Naked.
and stuff just rattling at each other.
Is that what Zed always looks like when he goes into...
Maybe, we don't know.
That's what Shin
And
is.
we'll never know because they don't have a story that connects the...
Right.
Or wherever he goes. I don't really know much about Zed. But...
And if you had your bingo board out and had added this to the bingo board, which I guess we should do, some say all this suffering created Nocturne from nothing. Others say it merely corrupted a lesser assassin construct into something more willful and deadly.
The bio has a few moments like this. Like, certainly none can say what truly happened.
Yeah, it like poses like a rhetorical question at one point. It's like, can anyone really say that the Rune Wars would have resulted differently if Nocturne had not done their work? Maybe, but no one can really know. It's like ancient aliens.
But I mean, on that subject, did Nocturne save the world? Even if inadvertently?
It's a really interesting question, honestly. I think
Now he's so mad about it.
just fucked up, ruined your food supply. I mean, because I think that idea of like, ooh, mages who just existed only in the spirit realm, kind of like Alun, whatever is doing, just chilling in the wherever. That's
Trolling
cool.
the moon realm.
Yeah, and then it fucked up the whole spirit realm. Like, that's cool. I would like this, and that like there's this weird part of it that I think Nocturne kind of, it's like a little infected like part of the spirit realm. Like, that's all cool, and I'd like to see maybe more of that. And yeah, Zed be a great vehicle for that, maybe.
Yeah, I'd like a story with someone from the Order of Shadow going into the spirit realm and accidentally ending up in the no-no zone.
And no stands for Nocturne, of course.
Yeah, Nana Nocturne, Nano, the Nano zone.
Just like a velvet rope in front of it with like a big angry Nocturne face. Oh man!
No one tells me where I can and can't go. Step over it.
He's like stuck behind it, like in the cinematic. He's like trying to
right, just raging against this invisible wall. Man, that's bio.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then we have one short story, also by Ian St. Martin, called "The Shadow Door."
The Shadow Door.
Now, when y'all read that, did anyone else think of the scary door from Futurama?
I didn't.
No. It's been a while.
It's their Twilight Zone knockoff.
Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah. Anyway, well, that's what I thought of when I first saw it. But oh yeah, he says by Ian St. Martin. It's following this guy in Piltover who's he just got done reading a scary story to his kid. Maybe a little too scary for however old his kid was, which I thought was a fun little detail. But the kid's like the kid's a little scared and he's trying to calm the kid, but the kid like stays scared and he's kind of looking past him and starts sinking into the bed as if like there's a pit beneath it, like really sinking into the bed. And as this is happening, the bed starts to change and split, and it becomes this mouth, and the sheets become this tongue that wrap around the kid, and the dad's trying to reach in and save him, and then the mouth like snaps shut around the kid. And then the dad wakes
also
up.
Very Nightmare on Elm Street.
Super Nightmare on Elm.
Yes.
Yeah. The dad wakes up and he's like, "Oh God, it's just a nightmare." And then he sees that his kid is like standing in the room at the foot of the bed, and the kid's like, "Oh, Daddy, why did you dream that nightmare? Don't you know that's what feeds him?" And then the kid's shadow starts to kind of peel itself off the wall and turn into Nocturne, as we all know him. And then Nocturne goes and like stabs the dad with his arm swords, And the dad's like, "Oh, where'd you come from? Why?" And Nocturne's all, "You, I came from you, whatever."
I learned it from watching you.
Right. The next morning, the kid goes to check on it. It's like, "Oh, Dad, wake up! It's morning," but Dad's not there. And as the kid leaves, there's been like these like weird shadow mist that's kind of been around Nocturne, like his tail kind of is in game, and a little bit of that kind of spills out of the kid's mouth, and the kid doesn't realize, as if he's like gonna be next. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if that. Yeah, it's very Goosebumps.
Bum, 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 bum. Do, 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 do.
Yeah, I think like the image, like, especially that scene in that first kind of nightmare with the bed turning into the mouth, I think that was really effective. I just felt like this needed to be maybe a little bit shorter, or like a much longer, because I feel like it has a really strong kind of endpoint when the dad like wakes up, and then it's like another kind of nightmare thing that's happening, and the little scene with the kid afterwards is like, whatever,
Yes, I do think it lingers a little too long, which happens with horror stories sometimes. Like, I feel like they wanted to show that the dad was really gone, like Nocturne really did come and really did kill him. But I think that we knew that without the child coming to check on his dad, if that makes sense.
What I was unsure about was this kind of his first passing into the mortal realm, and the whole shit coming out of the sun was like, all right, well, Nocturne's in there now, and he's going to pass from person to person, kind of like how he got to Fossbarrow in the Runeterra thing.
I didn't know that's how he went to people, so I wasn't getting that from the end.
It's a good question.
That's possible.
I guess
it would skew, I think, or it would set a timeline that might not fit. I mean, again, this is kind of using, I guess, arcane timeline, which we can't necessarily do. But in theory, let's assume some things are canon here that aren't. If Piltover is presumably less than 300 years old, as Heimer founded it in his 310, and this story takes place in Piltover, if this is kind of his first coming into the material plane, then his material body is less than 300 years old. Maybe that's true, maybe it isn't. Who knows?
Who can really say whether,
Some people think.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess my read on it was that this was not, like a color story. It's just, here's a day in the life, right? He does this shit.
Nocturne clocking in for his 9 to 5.
Oh, these two. Very Monsters Inc. almost in that way, but...
All right, I need Nocturne to be part of the day job AU.
Oh, yeah. That'd be great.
Mm-hmm.
So we got a Nana, and then what would his job be? He does something with the night shift, right?
Ooh. I don't know. Maybe he's like graveyard
night
shift.
shift
Like
Nocturne.
like he's a fast food kind of guy.
Oh,
graveyard
that's
shift.
great. Yeah.
That's more of a
Or he
York
like
thing,
changes
though.
change like at the grocery store. They do overnight shifts there.
Oh, I was gonna say like a greeter.
Oh, a Walmart, an overnight Walmart greeter. I don't know if
for
they
those
have
24-hour Walmarts.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't know. I've never been in a Walmart.
I don't think they have greeters anymore in general, but
I'd still buy that. It's good.
they used to give out smiley face stickers to children when you walked into Walmart, by the way, for any youngins out there. If
And
they don't
his
still
would
do
have
that.
like sharp, pointy teeth on all the stickers. Just be a sticker of whatever you're the most afraid of.
It's just like a glaring frowny face instead.
Now, I wrote down one quote here because we mentioned the scene where like his son sunk into the bed, but I really kind of liked the imagery of that scene, so I wrote it down. He leans down to kiss Abel's forehead, but the boy shrank back from him. What? Chuckled. God, I'm gonna Selwyn.
Selwyn?
I like Selwyn.
Kelwine.
I thought it was
We'll go
Selwyn.
Selwyn. What? Chuckled Selwyn. Too old for a kiss? His chuckle died as Abel kept sinking into the bed. A chill ran up Kelwyn's spine as his son sank lower and lower, as though a pit had opened up beneath the mattress. Abel cried out as the blanket wound tight around his body. It began to glisten, becoming slick and wet as it morphed into a red, spotted tongue. which I thought was very cool imagery. Although I will say my one gripe here is that I feel like a chill ran up his spine may have been a bit understated for what that moment called for.
Goosebumps prickled across his arm.
As his son was eaten by his own pet.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
It was a quick shortcut that was made instead of describing the fear. But yeah.
I think a little bit later on when that second kind of scene happens with Nocturne, they do that a bit. They kind of handle that a bit better. Because they talk about like how he had like every fiber is like screaming to run, but he's still kind of like rooted in place and just like frozen in terror. And that's a bit better. I thought it was interesting too in that they talk about Nocturne opening its mouth and there being like jagged teeth in there, which I don't think I've ever seen depicted anywhere in a Nocturne piece. But I do like it. It's like, oh, that's a little like him having, or Nocturne having like weird, just human-esque type teeth instead of like fangs or anything could be pretty cool. You know, that could be a weird thing for him to have going on.
No, just imagining with like a big glistening smile, human teeth.
$1 million.
Those like fucking Sonic teeth in there.
Maybe that's his day job, dentist. He's got like a perfect veneers.
Dr. Nocturne.
Nocturne. Why isn't he part of the Doctor skin line?
Man, we're coming up with a ton of them.
So many skins for Nocturne.
You're welcome, Riot.
Got them on
They're all
block.
gold.
Wok-turne. I don't even know what that is, but Alice in Wonderland. There you go.
I was gonna say it could be another day job. He's a locksmith.
We're really giving Tony his work.
None of these are scary at all. We're just making him.
Well, he's already so scary. He's already got so many scary
That's
skins too. What do y'all feel about him having big arm blades? Do you feel like that takes away from the scariness a bit?
I would have said yes until, honestly, I feel like the way that they were animated in the cinematic makes them very cool. I was like on the fence, and then the cinematic came, and I was like, all right, that's I can get behind that. That's cool now.
Yeah, I'm of two minds.
It makes him feel, it makes him feel less monstrous to me and more like something that was human, kind of like Hextech, you know, using a weapon.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
I feel that way too. Like when I was reading this story, I thought in particular he's showing up and it's talking about this, like I said, this shadow that's just kind of like ripping itself off the wall and becoming fully like 3-dimensional and stuff. And it's like, oh, this is really cool. And then it talks about him having like these arm blades and stuff. And I was like, oh, he's not. It's a little less monstrous, right?
Yeah.
Like you said.
Yeah. And the arm blades wouldn't blend in with the shadows quite as well. Whereas a shadow coming to life and like eating you is.
Well, I'll get into a little bit with the fun facts, but my guess is that part of that design decision was like a lot of his character theme seemed designed around a bad guy from a book series.
Okay.
Oh,
like the Shrike.
Yeah, I'm familiar. I've not read that series, but I'm familiar with the concept.
What's the series?
It's like a Hyperion. I don't know if that's the actual name for it.
Yeah, it's Hyperion, and then there's a character in it called the Shrike, and a lot of his design stuff mirrors that monster, and that monster was like made of blades and talons and shit. So that's kind of my guess. They thought it looked cool, it fit the theme.
Sure.
I mean, I think I agree with what you're saying too, John. That especially when like in that particular moment in the cinematic when he kind of goes to make the stab. And it kind of drives into the spikes into the pillar or whatever. It comes off very lethal, which is pretty effective. And frankly, and maybe we'll talk about this with the old lore. I thought they worked in the judgment piece a lot. I thought it was a nice balance between him because he's got maybe a bit more of an intelligence there, which I guess he does here too. But he talks more, in the judgment stuff, and it kind of works a little bit more. And he still comes off very lethal and threatening, and he's like a blender.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, actually. I think it was based around him. There was a TFT comp that was very popular in one of the specific sets just based around Nocturne that was called the Blender comp.
Really? Interesting. So what we got this? What else? There's the for Demacia.
We got for Demacia. We've covered that a few times. I've got some just random notes about the Nocturne specifically from it.
Yeah, I think that's fine. We just hit some of that bit.
If you haven't listened to any of the episodes where we did talk about for Demacia, it's a very long story, but Garen and Lux. We go in a bit more detail there. But I feel like for Demacia gives us, like I mentioned, kind of a way better feel of Nocturne's current power level. So like in Shadow Door, he's possessing some kid and killing a single dude. Seems, in the grand scheme of things, very low stakes. In this one, he's still possessing some kid. That's just kind of his MO, I guess. But he's also kind of possessing and corrupting an entire town's worth of people. He's summoning massive shadow apparitions from fucking nowhere that can't be killed, instilling waking nightmares in people, not just when they're sleeping, including mages as powerful as Lux. There's like a huge power jump here.
It's true.
He was getting his sea legs back.
It's like riding a bike. I mean, to be fair, too.
Sea tendrils.
I think, also he does have control of he's got control of a mage, and it seems like maybe a big untapped power source. So maybe that's part of it, right? It's like helps to fuel him
true.
there.
Little baby mage. Pfft.
I don't know. Maybe it's like, he's, like I said, a bunch of untapped power, but he's just a little kid. So it's like the perfect storm, right? Yeah, it's a neat depiction of all the things he can really do, and I think a lot of the early parts of that story, when you're seeing just the toll it's taking on the people, is really effective at it's a very oppressive atmosphere that's quickly built around Fossbarrow and what he's doing to it,
Yeah, and the distance he can corrupt too. Like if you were in Fossbarrow, where would you go if you wanted to fight whatever the hell was happening? You'd have no fucking clue where to go to fight that shit. It's just infecting your whole town, and it's forever far away. Lux just happened to have the sweet deets, but
The sweet deets.
I am curious too how Fossian even managed to hurt Nocturne enough to get him to go into hibernation. It mentions that he stabbed him with Demacian steel, but I mean, that seems like an unfortunate weakness for a demon to have. I feel like there had to have been more to the story.
It's a good question,
No, my only weakness, a weapon.
The creatures I conjure are immune to it, but me? Nope.
I don't know. I think the thing about that is that this idea of Demacian steel being this super good against demons and stuff is it varies so much from story to story how effective things like that are, I'd like it to be a little more nailed down.
And even within this story, because he summons a bunch of those things, and it specifically mentions too that Garen and the rest of his Dauntless Vanguard, who are no doubt outfitted with Demacian steel, at least Garen is, we know that much, they can't do anything to them. They're holding off their attacks, but they can't hurt them, they can't kill them. It doesn't seem like his steel's doing fucking anything.
maybe you know what, maybe this is all just mage power up shit, where it's just he's more powerful than he ever was before he was struck down. I don't know.
Classic. Also an interesting line here. It's dark knowing that Nocturne feeds on terror, and he specifically mentions that he doesn't really have to do a lot to feast on Demacian mages because they're already so terrified even without him because of how terrible Demacia treats their own mages.
That's rough.
He's like, oh, this was easy. I didn't have to get inside his head. I just had to scope out the sitch, see what was going on. It was a feast. Oh shit, sweet. Easiest job ever.
Candy
clocking out early on that 9 to 5.
He gets the shadows hey, cover me for a little bit. I'm going home early. Garen shows
I'm
up.
going to be a smoke.
Going to be a I like it.
God damn it, John. Yeah, but you have to be 20 feet away from the door. Do you think the demons get along? Like if Nocturne and Fiddlesticks were to like accidentally start trying to terrorize the same town, would they buddy up or would it be like a territorial thing?
I guess it would depend on if like the emotion they were feeding on was mutually exclusive or not. Because if you could be both, you know, maybe if Fiddlesticks and Nocturne were both feeding on terror, they wouldn't get along. But like,
What
maybe
does
some of the other
Fiddlesticks feed
demons.
on?
I think also terror.
Not terror?
Also
Yeah.
terror.
Oh no, so that would be a problem. But it was Evelyn.
Maybe
It's like
Evelyn.
lust or something. I don't know. Is that what she feeds on? I don't remember.
No, I think she also
think
feeds
she
on
also-
I think they all
terror.
feed on terror, right?
Oh no, she's pain, right?
Oh, pain. That's right, because we wanted to hook her up with Mundo.
Yeah, I think so.
So maybe they could exist together.
It's like a timeshare situation, you know. It's.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's a good question. I think if they ever came back to him, that would be a great angle to also explore a bit. Is how does he exist in the demonic ecosystem? You know.
I'm curious about the hierarchy of the demons and everything, you know.
Yeah, we know there is one. And we
Yeah.
know some higher level understanding of it. But yeah, the specifics are very vague. They have not been puzzled out yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is fine for a bit, especially with something like this. But you need answers eventually, right?
Don't worry, we'll get him in Legends of Runeterra, where we find out that
Hey,
find out who C is. That's where all their mysteries are solved.
Apparently.
I got a bit of old lore for Nocturne.
Let's do it.
So his bio originally, there were a bunch of nightmare related deaths that people had questions about, but no one really had any answers for. And then one day a field architect was inspecting a nexus on the Twisted Tree Line, and an arc of energy jumped out, and it was Nocturne. Nocturne killed him and was pulled into the physical realm. He did not take his introduction to this world kindly, and he slaughtered everything he could find before summoners were able to magically confine him. League experts divined that Nocturne hunted summoners in their sleep, attacking them in a place where their magic was useless, and this seemed to be his only purpose. The families of the victims demanded justice, but League officials were concerned that death might only return Nocturne to the place where he came, and he could kill more people, so they bound him to a Nexus fragment, trapping him in the physical world. And as punishment for his crimes, they allowed summoners to call upon Nocturne in League matches, bending his will to the summoners he hates and creating his own personal nightmare. League scholars don't know whether he truly came from the plane of dreams or whether there are any more like him. Some
say.
theorize that the summoning act affected the summoner's subconscious minds, luring Nocturne to them in their sleep. Perhaps the most disturbing theory is that Nocturne is a person's nightmare come to life. If this is true, they wonder, who is the dreamer?
Ooh.
There's a little thread to pull on that'll never lead to anything.
yeah.
What? In League lore?
Unheard of.
And he was around for the Judgment period.
Oh, God. It's interesting how sometimes people have to beg to get into the League of Legends, and then other times people are put there as a punishment.
True. I like the idea. I like the idea that they do judgments at all for things like Nocturne. They're just just murder ghosts. I don't know. To be fair, it's not really a judgment per se, more than anything.
Right. Yeah, his
Okay.
judgment is basically just a retelling of the moment when he was captured.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's pretty good, honestly.
Weird.
I think if you went back to this and just edited out some of the summoner crap, it's a good little color story, frankly. 'Cause it's like,
It's a lot of murder in it.
It's a lot
It's
of
got a way
murder.
bigger body count in this one.
yeah, I mean, it's like the bio says, right? He just pops into existence and starts blendering people, and he really does just blender them, and it kind of goes through, I think, most, if not all, of his in-game abilities, and I think they're expressed pretty cool. And there's as he's killing all these summoners, there's like this one summoner who's just kind of like, very like anime, just sitting there just watching, like dispassionately, like he's exceeding all our expectations or something like that. And Nocturne goes to go fight him, but then it turns out he's like stuck in the weird judgment zone, where it's just illusions and shit. But I did like, there's a moment where, I don't know, I assume this is like that Revelash guy, the one of the corrupt summoners who's like running the thing, where it's like it's almost like he's getting a little randy, just like at the power that he's gonna get. His breath gets like wet, and he's like, oh, welcome to the league.
Yeah.
Oh God.
It was disconcerting.
I think he's just supposed to be like, this is ours.
What was the phrasing? Like his lips moistened in anticipation.
Yeah.
Was what they said.
A heat grew in
Which
his
I have
loins.
never had my lips moisten in anticipation. I have had to manually moisten my lips if they were to become moist.
He pulled out his lip balm and quickly.
You don't just secrete moisture from your lips randomly.
We don't talk about my lip secretions.
But like I said, it's pretty cool. There's a moment like where he's, Nocturne is kind of talking shit to this summoner guy, and he like flicks like entrails off one of his blades, and it kind of like lands with a slap in front of him or something like that. It's nice and gory. It's pretty cool.
And he also shows up in a few issues of the Journal of Justice.
Always a fan favorite.
Now, first one is issue 19 in the Mailbag of Justice. This was a question in response to your where can I summon my champions from? The journal stated, summoning creatures or people from other planets or against their will is expressly forbidden, except in some very special circumstances approved by the League. So the League has the right to pull a creature from its world against its will? How can we trust a League that is up for kidnapping, special circumstances or not? From Summoner Mizuki. And then the answer was, your question's well received. It is the duty of all citizens to ask questions like these of their governments and leaders in order to keep the powers in check. I think one of the major reasons this is in the forefront of some minds is because of the recent induction of Nocturne to the League. A confessed and proud murderer of summoners, there was quite a bit of controversy surrounding what to do with him when he emerged and was captured in our world. There was a particularly fierce debate over whether he should be exterminated immediately for his crimes and to prevent further threat, or whether he should be kept alive and examined in order to better understand the dream plane. After great deliberation, it was decided that he should pay for his crimes on the fields of justice. The League pledged this wealth, which would normally be accorded to him as a champion, instead to the families of his victims. He will literally pay. At the same time, he will be neither executed nor made a lab rat. Regardless of which decision you agree with, they did put some consideration into the issue. I have to admit, I agree with their decision. Which, I don't know if we noticed through all of those words that he said, but he did not even remotely answer that question.
It's a very politician's answer.
Because they did not pull Nocturne from the realm. So assuming that this question was about Nocturne was presumptuous, and then answering the question as if it was about Nocturne to avoid answering the real question about pulling creatures from their realms. Little shady,
I don't
Journal.
know. I don't know about these Journal of Justice types. There's something about them.
Something about 'em.
I like the idea that a Nocturne in some capacity would have earned money in some way. It's horrible.
If only he hadn't murdered quite so many summoners.
And then I had this image of him like getting sponsored, right, and doing like ad spots and shit.
Now I got NASCAR Nocturne.
Right? He's got like a Red Bull sticker on his knives.
If you don't want to fall asleep and be murdered, like this is.
Red Bull gives you blades.
He flies, John. The thing still fits. He's got one of those refrigerators behind him with the Red Bull in it.
Now he shows up again in issue 27, again in the Mailbag of Justice. I have a question for Nocturne. If I do recall, which I had to say in that voice because I do declare.
I mean, you did have to.
He was forced to work for the League because he tried to kill many summoners. It must be hard to remain in a world where you were forced into creation from dreams before to a harsh reality. So my question to Nocturne is, how have you adapted to life outside of dreams? The creature called Nocturne is kept in an enchanted holding chamber within the Institute of War. His deeply ingrained hatred of summoners was apparent from the moment I approached the room. It darkened unnaturally, and Nocturne slashed his blades against the bars that divided us. I offered him your question, and at first I believed the creature would refuse to answer, but Nocturne cackled and hissed his disturbing reply. Which I'm not going to try and do a cackle and a hiss combination for this reply, because I don't really know how that would... Ha! Adapted? I'm a prisoner to the most vicious and merciless of wardens. You summoners imprison and enslave, yet I'm the one called a nightmare. I will never adapt. I will never succumb to your tyranny. I bide my time. One day I will show you a true nightmare, summoners.
Oh, nice.
That's a cackle hiss at the end.
That was good.
I like it.
It was a little Wicked Witch of the West, but it's okay.
Well, you know.
They really like that image of him stuck behind bars and like slashing.
They really do.
I don't know. Maybe it just works for him.
He's literally a shadow. Like, he just...
Magic bars, honey.
Oh, fuck me. You're right. I'm sorry. Fantasy bars.
Now, he also shows up, as we mentioned, in the Twist of Fate cinematics. Cinematic. just one of them.
Yeah.
We see Nocturne fighting Rise. Rise's eyes are all shrouded black, and we can see kind of through his eyes that he's like seeing the world in a creepy, terrifying way as he's under the influence of the fear spell.
Oh, no.
Which is pretty cool.
I don't get me wrong. I like that a lot, and I appreciate it for what it is, but it's really subtle storytelling if you don't know what's going on, right?
It's true. It's one of those things like Ari's charm in the A New Dawn cinematic that if you don't know what's going on, it really confuses people. I can't count how many times I've seen reactors react to that, and Ari will like throw the charm and they'll be like, oh shit's about to go down, and then she runs away and they're like, wait, what? What happened?
Yeah, I haven't watched that behind the scenes video in forever, but I feel like that was something that they had more established and then got cut at some point during the creation process. Like it probably just, they couldn't get it to read, and it's like, we can't spend the whole video explaining what's happening in this little vignette. So
yeah, it's tough. But then there's a massive cloud of darkness following Rise, which gives way to a sweet-ass looking Nocturne. He attacks Rise, cuts his big-ass scroll in half, and is about to finish him off, but Rise rune prisms him for what had to have been 30 seconds, which was enough time for him to channel a single Q to kill him.
I mean, this old Rise, that, single Q killing you sounds kind of right, from what I remember.
Sounds more like a Morgana binding now, though.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah, it was neat, though. I dug it.
It's pretty cool. He's a cool one. That's why I'm kind of surprised he doesn't show up more, because I think he's a cool thing, like image to kind of put in cinematics and stuff.
Yeah, I'd like to see him in more cinematics. His short story would be a good cinematic too.
That would work really well.
I would watch something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh well, poor Nocturne.
Poor Nocturne.
Poor Nocturne.
Yeah, he's about where I expected he was going to be. Yeah, not much love and attention, like all the demons really right now.
Fiddlesticks was pretty good. I mean, he was very recently touched.
He got a recent update.
Yeah, I feel like when we get to Tom, I feel like he's going to have some cool stuff.
Oh, is he a demon?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's a biggin.
Oh, he's a biggin.
Oh.
He's the man.
And he's got
demon.
some sweet high noon lore.
Oh, really? Dope. Well, I think with Tom Kinch, like, the thing about him is he's got more of a little... His thrust is more unique than just, I want people to be afraid of me, right?
Yeah. And he's like... He's kind of a classic one too. Like I feel like he's the equivalent. God, what are they called? Those supernatural demons that show up. He's like a crossroads demon.
Okay, I understand the concept anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a nice strong theme for a demon.
Yeah.
Is there anything else for Nocturne?
Well, I have some quotes,
Sure.
which I guess fall under canon Nocturne.
Well, except for the ones about summoners.
That's canon, baby. So we referenced it a little bit, but embrace the darkness, cross over, cut them from this world, and suffer eternally are all kind of Shrike quotes from Hyperion Cantos by Dan Simmons. And Eternum Nocturne also has a quote that says, "We transcend time," which is kind of the Shrike's whole thing in that story. He moves so fast that it can kind of move forward in time to the future or slow down time to make agony last longer. He brings people to like a giant chain filled with like thorns and blades and just leaves them there in the future.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool shit. Maybe I need to read that.
I was thinking like it could be fun to do some kind of like book club with the Discord sometime if anybody wanted to. This one is 500 pages long though. I looked it up.
Just a little light read.
It's a series too.
It is a series, but you could just read the first one. But yeah, it was published in like 89. It's an old fantasy.
Eternum Nocturne also has a quote that says, We have learned of spin to win. None can stop. It was a trick."
That's a cutting edge reference.
Hey. Now, Eternum Nocturne also has a ton of Mass Effect, Sovereign, and Harbinger inspired quotes.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Their existence is a mistake. The end of days draws near. We are one, and fate cannot be averted. Very similar thematically to the, organic life is nothing but a genetic mutation, an accident. The time of our return is coming. We are Legion. You cannot escape your destiny. We fight as one.
Man, I want to play some Mass Effect.
Right?
Yeah.
I think about replaying Mass Effect like literally monthly.
All on Game Pass.
I know. That's part of the reason why I keep debating it.
Now, I've got some AUs.
Some alternate
You ready to hop into the AUs?
Yeah.
Sure. I guess real quick for quotes, because he is in Runeterra.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's still technically a little canon stuff. Quote-wise, he's got two that I like. One is where he tells Lulu that all the other Yordles despise her, and it really actually makes her upset.
Oh my god, that's so sad. Fuck you, Nocturne.
Yeah. It is kind of sad. And then the other one is he's like taunting Zoe, and he says one other thing that's like serious, and she doesn't care. And then he's like, Ezreal will marry Lux, and they'll live happily ever after, and it breaks her heart. And she just cries out like, no, which is pretty good. But the other thing for like canon stuff is that, so we know he ends up in Fossbarrow, and if you look at some of the flavor text, it seems like maybe a Demacian, some poet named something Tommen, I don't remember exactly, may have gone out to the Shadow Isles, it sounds like, and gotten some Nocturne goo on him, and then taken it back to Fossbarrow, and that's how he got over there. But that's weird, because that puts him in the Shadow Isles in the first place, which is also, who knows if that's actually where he's actually at. So
he's everywhere.
Right.
I don't like that travel system as much. He gets some schmutz on someone's hand and then he can go somewhere else.
It's just like gum that's stuck to your shoe.
Chewed up gum Nautilus. Another skin idea for you, right?
What about the Nocturne skin?
Oh god, why did I say Nautilus? I meant Nocturne.
Because they're very similar, frankly.
Not on the brain.
Who knows? Just a little weird thing. All right, hit me with the AU.
All right.
Hit me with an AU.
We'll start with Glacier.
He doesn't even look like Nautilus.
No, he doesn't.
It's wild.
Glacial is in a world It is set in a world where each champion is a creature of ice and snow, and this one is Frozen Terror Nocturne. Somewhere, hidden beneath the enormous ice caps, lurks a demon, fueled by the terror of those foolish enough to enter his domain. Which, this one's just Nocturne. Fun fact, Frozen Terror Nocturne and Glacial Malphite appear to be fighting Infernal Diana in her splash, which is kind of the connection between these two AUs. Yeah, spurring my Obsidian Malphite theory.
Yeah, you thought she had won, so what happened to Nocturne, do you think? Is he just waiting for an infernal skin to pop out?
Maybe Ravager. It's
maybe
orangish reddish.
Yeah, fuck it.
Maybe lava.
Looks like a wasp in this one.
Yeah. But, it's the best we got.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's horrifying. A wasp is way scarier to me than a Nocturne.
A Nocturne-sized wasp.
Oh my god. Don't put that in my head.
Because he wouldn't have to, pretend to be the thing you're afraid of. He would already be the thing you're afraid of.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know I was afraid of this, but I am now.
He's also in Eternum, set in a world where alien machines rule. Each champion is an indoctrinated mechanical being. This one's Eternum Nocturne. Your worst nightmare, embodied in the form of organic metal. It lingers, watching and waiting for the right moment to shroud all of existence in eternal darkness. And this one actually had a little marketing lore blurb too.
Oh.
A fearsome shadow's about to fall upon the fields of justice as the extraplanar legendary Eternum Nocturne tears through space and time to cull those who do not belong. He lingers, yet waiting and watching, but he'll soon be ready to cast a shroud of darkness over your battles.
Doesn't he look like he's got a little smile and a really long chin?
Yeah.
Oh, he does. We'll never be able to unsee.
Little cutie.
Now, while Eternum Nocturne is not technically part of the Battlecast skin line, despite how he looks, he might exist in the same universe as champions from both those skin lines are fighting together in Olaf vs. Everything.
Okay. Interesting.
Next up, we got Eclipse. Long ago, an order of monastic knights slew the vile gods of the old world using esoteric powers granted by the moon and sun. Now the world has grown dark and violent as those selfsame deities prepare their return, challenged only by the light of the eclipse. And this one is Old God Nocturne.
Oh, God. I was like, what the fuck one is this?
The great corpses of the old gods fed the land, and in time, even the elderwood would come to grow over their putrid rot, hiding it, perhaps for a time. But the gods never truly died, and with the resurgence of the coven, one has risen again. Nocturne, the eternal nightmare.
Oh.
And this one actually has a whole ass short story that goes with it, all about Nocturne. It's called The Spirit of Copperwood Glade by our boy, Jared Rosen.
Ooh. Our baby boy.
Now, this is about a toy maker husband and wife and their child Rowan live in the Elderwood. Her great-grandfather had rescued a woodland spirit, which we find out is Nocturne. They rescued Nocturne. And in return, they were blessed with 102 years where they could harvest one tree a year and do whatever they wanted to do with it from the Elderwood. And they'd also have the protection of the Elderwood forever as long as they stayed on the outskirts of the city and kind of did right by the Elderwood. So one of the advantages of building toys out of the Elderwood trees is that they never aged, they never got damaged, so they were highly sought after. So one day, a lord named Bryn wanted all that for himself. So he was like, come, make me a shit ton of these. And he's like, well, no, I can't make you that many. He's like, well, come live in my castle. He's like, well, no, I'm going to chill here. And he's like, all right, well, then I'm going to burn your fucking workshop to the ground. So think about it. And then he left. So the toy maker and his wife sent their daughter Rowan.
Sounds like a mob boss.
Yeah, basically. They sent their daughter Rowan to the Elderwood to barter with the spirit there. But he warned her, it is not a friendly spirit that we rescued. It is a vicious spirit. And it will absolutely murder you and take your soul if it senses that you're lying to it, or if you try to barter with it and don't give it a good enough deal. So be careful. So she goes out there, and basically Nocturne's like, she explains the situation, and Nocturne's like, yeah, I get it. All right, you guys have been good to me, so here's my vow. If Bryn murders you, I'll kill him in return.
Thanks, man.
And she's like, well, I don't know if you know this, but humans only have the one life. So maybe could you do something before he murders us? So he's like, okay, but I'm cold and I'm hungry. So she gives him some food, and she gives him her coat. And then he's like, and also I need to make sure that you're being truthful to me. And his test for that, I guess, is stabbing her through the stomach and like raising her above his head. And but she passed that test, I guess. So then he put her down and healed her wounds and was like, all right, cool, I'll take care of Bryn, you're cool.
I feel like there had to have been a better way.
Was it supposed to be like a test of the fact that humans only like, did he kill her and like revive her, and he was testing that humans really only do have one life or something like that?
No, he just he didn't kill her, he just stabbed her. And I guess she was like, you know, when she got to the Glade where she was to be tested, there were like bones everywhere, as if like a bunch of people had failed this test. So she kind of went in there expecting like, all right, well, this is probably where I die. So it's kind of, as he like picked her up, she was like, okay, well, this is what I came here for, but maybe I guess my parents will be safe, and maybe that's what did it.
Okay.
But
maybe Nocturne just likes collecting bones. He's a little doggy.
maybe that's true.
Little doggy Nocturne.
Dog turn? Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Bark turn.
Eh. I'm so sorry.
It's fine. Nocturner and Hooch.
There you go. You saved it. So, hang on.
Damn it.
Hooch, then.
From the jaws of defeat.
It's like I can't have disappointed them.
Anywho, so they all lived happily ever after. Well, almost everyone. As for Lord Bryn, he and his knights were slain by a vicious spirit while they rested, and his kingdom fell into a dark slumber from which it never awakened. The Elderwood grew quickly towards these lands and consumed them utterly within the year, and nary a soul escaped. One can still find their ruins in the place now known as the Somber Wood, where it is said the spirit Nocturne visits from time to time to admire his handiwork.
Play fetch with his dog, all the bones.
Yeah.
Going down to the dog run.
That whole time I was trying to think of a champion name that rhymed with Hooch so I could pair it. Nothing.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'm just not as good as you.
Oh, fiddle faddle. Fun fact about this AU, we mentioned that each specific old god communicates with and is a patron of a certain coven member. Nocturne might be the ivory stag that Lysandra communicates with, just kind of based on all the horns his mask has. Very stag-like.
That's cool.
Not confirmed for sure, but likely.
Yeah, I can see it.
Next up, we got harrowing, set around the haunted festivities of Runeterra's harrowing and real-world Halloween. All the champion skins are inspired by these regional or festive cultures. This one is Haunting Nocturne. Haunting Nocturne would be a lot less haunting without those huge knife arms.
I guess.
You know what? Debatable, as we have found out from this discussion.
True.
They're really just trying to defend their decision to use
Guys,
blades.
the blades
scary.
are cool. They're scary. You don't understand.
Oh my god, this Void Nocturne splash is truly special.
Yeah, there was no good lore for that one, unfortunately.
It's the one that looks like that old little concept art, huh, Mark?
That's probably it, actually. That was probably the one.
I mean, I honestly was still thinking Ravager. I mean, I'll have to look at the concept art again. It's kind of a mix. It's like if you had Ravager's coloring, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next, we got Hextech. Now at the forefront of science and art, Hextech has evolved from its rudimentary beginnings into a modern renaissance of intricate artificial life forms capable of free will. Skilled artificers lead the medium into a bold new future, but what it will bring, none can say. This one's Hextech Nocturne. Not every part of the Hextech renaissance led to bright innovations. A clandestine experiment to fuse Hextech with demonic energies wrought a living nightmare. Who'da thunk? A predator rumored to stalk the streets and back alleyways of the city. Authorities report that any such creation would have been terminated along with any such project, and that any missing persons reports are, of course, completely unrelated.
This idea
sounds legit.
I would really like to see this idea in a champion, frankly. A weird like Hextech demon mix. Like in like actual canon champion. I think that could be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I could dig that. And finally, we have Omen of the Dark, set in a dark setting where each of the champions serve the Blade Queen. This is Cursed Revenant Nocturne. In her dreams, the queen was approached by a great shadow, whispering of power and infamy beyond the grasp of mortals. Upon the shadow's third visit, she released it into the waking world, and sure enough, it would come to keep its terrible promise. The shadow was Nocturne.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, thank you. I was so fucking lost.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for. The hammer is my penis.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I got some fun facts
Great.
here.
We already dropped the first one, so.
Nocturne's voice actor is Jason I'm going to assume it's Vishnov. That'd be my guess.
Nice.
Yeah.
If Nocturne is hit by a smokescreen, the enemy Graves will say, "I've got your darkness," or "Who's in the dark now?" Which is the first time unique dialogue was triggered by champion interactions.
Damn, that's pretty big, actually.
Yeah.
According to Nocturne's lore and the Realms of Runeterra timeline placement of the Rune Wars, it can be estimated that Nocturne's probably around 1,000 years old.
This is the baby. Compared to like Jax and shit.
Get with it, Nocturne. You think you're big and bad? You're only 1,000.
Eat these eggs. Come back to me in 1,000 years. Let's see. Nocturne. This was an interesting one. Of all of the kind of main canon cinematics that have been released, Nocturne is the only champion to have any spoken lines.
Yeah, I guess you're right. In terms of like actual words, not just grunts.
Yeah, not grunts or noises.
Interesting. It is funny because they are like the same lines from the game, for sure.
Right.
I mean, why we record them, right?
Weird.
Yeah.
I never thought about it.
I didn't either, but now that I guess it makes sense, especially then, because he doesn't have lips, right? So he can say shit, and you don't have to worry about like lip syncing anything, you know?
That's true. You don't have to worry about localization.
Yeah.
Lipless Nocturne. Maybe he's born with it.
Nocturne is derived from the Latin nocturnus, meaning of the night. Umbra Blades is named after the Latin umbra, for shade or shadows.
Okay.
Nocturne was the first champion to be previewed at a major event prior to release, as he was teased at PAX East in 2011.
Oh, that's cool.
And then on August 13th, 2019, there was an update push to PBE, where the limited edition loading screen for Old God Nocturne got bugged, and it was instead an unfinished artwork of True Damage Senna, which had not been released or even announced at that time. It's another unintentional leak.
That's a good one. What a hell of a fuck up.
Yeah, that's not like one little number in the code.
Did you say 2019? I mean, yeah, right. True damage. Yeah. Damn, son.
Yeah.
Riot consistency.
And then finally, this was one I didn't even think of until as we were talking about his voice lines. But this is a fun little Riot campus trivia fact. We had a movie theater on campus called the Nocturne Theater, and when you shut the lights off in the theater, you'd hear darkness as the lights turned off, and it was great.
I forgot about that until just now. Holy shit. Damn. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I don't remember. I remember being in that theater a couple times, but I distinctly remember a bunch of us going in there to watch people play Five Nights at Freddy's when that came out. That was the very first one, was a cultural revolution.
Yeah.
That was like a very big deal. That was very fun to watch people play that in like a big theater.
It's very good. That was the first time I'd ever played Five Nights at Freddy's. Was in that theater,
and I think
getting
the only
my
time.
shit scared out of me.
Yeah.
But yeah, we used to do all of our department stand-ups in there too. So anytime we had to do like a PowerPoint presentation, we'd all go over to the Nocturne Theater. And
It's too small now. It would be.
Yeah.
well, it was a departmental one, so they
true.
were always pretty small. But
Sure.
yeah,
Man.
I think we did have to move to the Skywalker one when we joined the Americas, because then the group got bigger and the Skywalker Theater was bigger.
Yeah.
But
When you turn the lights off in there, Luke Skywalker would say.
God, they had no fucking noises in that one. It was bullshit.
Right. Man, I've forgotten all about that shit. Goddamn. Fuck me.
But yeah, that's those are all my Nocturne fun facts.
That's Nocturne.
That's Nocturne, baby.
Yeah.
We got 17 skin ideas, and
I hope to see at least one of them in the next year. Riot.
Yeah, Riot.
Any final Nocturne thoughts?
I don't think so. I think it's already come out here.
Yeah. Any final podcast thoughts before our break?
Oh.
I'm gonna miss you guys.
So
Both of you.
John. He plans to leave right when the baby comes. It's like, ooh, I need to go fishing.
I don't know. I appreciate so many people. It is like, it's weird because it's like a little stop point, and you kind of look back, and it's like, damn, it's a lot of fucking League lore. I was thinking the other day about like how like we were doing those first ones and we didn't like know anything, and now there's like people listening and stuff, which I always think is crazy. Anyone listens.
That is weird.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like there's people now that listen and assume that we're League authorities, despite the fact that, I mean, we're reading the champions in order for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Past this, we haven't read fucking anything. We are at this point, I guess, maybe League lore novices because we're about halfway through, but
Man.
we don't know shit about the back half of the alphabet.
Yeah, you're talking about Zed going to the Shadow Realm or whatever. I'm like, oh, I mean, I knew he turned smoky in game, but
Hey, we've read the Zed comic 17 times now. You know that.
You know what's gonna happen is that he actually does have some connection to Nocturne, and we just don't fucking know it because we haven't done him yet.
oh, we have no idea.
Someone's like
What's in his
assholes.
bio. Someone will tell us, don't worry.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, we'll still, the goal, you know, I'm going to hope to still be around on the
Discord.
Discord.
Yeah.
Obviously not as much, but,
No,
you
we'll
know.
still be able to check out the Discord. So if you want to join that for updates, and our Twitter at Loreheads.
And hopefully, I mean, by the time this episode comes out, we will have had
We'll be several weeks in.
Yeah, we'll have had our baby for a little bit.
Nice
so
month.
yeah, we're hoping the break won't be too long. We've tried to prepare for it as much as we could, but you know, we'll see what happens.
There might be a
We're
couple
definitely
of...
coming back. Don't worry.
Yeah. There might be some like smaller episodes with just two people. Like John and Mark might be able to get away, something like that for a bit. Yeah, but we'll be back. We'll be around. Once we have a date, we'll definitely like post that on Twitter and announce it on the Discord. So, yeah. All right. Well, thank you for listening. Not just to Nocturne, but to all the episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I talked about Twitter. And we always have a YouTube. John puts fun parody songs on there, as well as the episodes, so you can hunt those out. They're very fantastic.
By the time this one comes out, there will have been very recently a new one posted.
Yeah, it's very good. What else do we have?
We have a
Twitch. We'll probably not be streaming at this point. Who knows when we'll come back, but twitch.tv/loreheads. John will probably be back soon.
Yeah, I might try to hop on for a game or two just to stay consistent
keep it
a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe.
We also have go ahead.
Maybe I'll have to have you coach me in TFT or something because I don't have.
That'd be great.
I don't have the mental
That'd be
capacity
game.
for League already, so it's like, let's see what happens.
You don't have the mental capacity for League, so you're going to take on a strategy game.
Yeah, if I fuck up, it's just I don't know. I'm dying. My body's rejecting the idea.
And then you train him in Legends of Runeterra.
Oh fuck! Frankly, there can be no training when it comes to that. I'm shit at that, but
I only play PvE.
same.
Oh, okay. Never mind then.
And then we also have a
Patreon. Thank you so much to all of our patrons.
But a very special thank you to our Medarda and All Chat tier patrons: Chloe Things, Crow, King of Hearts, Mylect, Rel, and Shuba Moustache. If you were being attacked by a crazy nightmare demon, I'd come save you before it smiled and split your mouth.
Oh.
Like it did to that possessed boy in the Fossbarrow story that we didn't necessarily cover as deeply in this episode, but if you listen to the other ones, you know that boy got his mouth split wide open.
Goodness.
But I'd rescue you, so that wouldn't happen.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's nice.
You're welcome.
That's a nice sentiment.
Just a nice uplifting sentiment to sign off on before we go on our break.
Yeah, how do we end this one? Join us in the future. Sometime.
Some future week.
Some future week when we talk about random things. And I think we're going to go back and do Belveth and Neela.
Yeah.
Yes,
probably.
that'd be... Hopefully there'll be a short story at that point, or we'll have some sort of update about some sort of Void event.
Yeah.
Whichever happens first, we'll cover them first.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, sounds good.
Alrighty. Bye-bye.
Bye! Bye!
Bye.